On the front's deep and talented late model full-timers list gets even better. And how should we handle standards for the sport of dirt racing's top series? We'll discuss that and more today. Let's go. It's Wednesday, April 10th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is Dirt Tracker Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. The 20,000 win Weldon Sterner Memorial presented by Chuck's Auto Parts Solutions at Lincoln Speedway is right around the corner, like next weekend, right around the corner. The 20th anniversary race scheduled for Saturday, April 20th is packed with giveaways for fans and includes a pre-race fan zone event in the pits where fans can meet their favorite drivers. In addition to the $20,000 winner share, drivers in both the 410 and 358 sprint car divisions will be competing for an increased purse that is spread throughout the field, along with additional contingency prizes. Make sure you're there to see who will add their name to the prestigious list of Weldon Sterner winners. That includes Brian Monteith, Lance DeWeese, Greg Hodnett, Kyle Larson, and the most recent winner of the event, Buddy Kofoid. So mark your calendars, tell your friends, and make sure you're in the stands at Lincoln Speedway on April 20th. The Hunt the Front Super Dirt Series is back in action this weekend with two nights coming up at Alltech Raceway in Florida. The Friday prelim show is $5,000 to win, and the Saturday race is $15,000 to win. Through just one race so far, Brandon Overton is the championship leader following his win at Talladega back a few weeks ago. The Hunt the Front schedule will start to ramp up here as we get deeper into the spring with another show in late April and then 5 races coming up in May. The series assigned over 20 full-time teams to compete all season, but there will be some shuffling coming up. Last night, North Carolina driver Chris Ferguson announced his intentions to run the series full-time, which, if my math is correct, brings them to 24 full-time teams. Fergie was third in the opener and is fast wherever he goes, both regionally and nationally. He immediately becomes one of the top challengers, I think, for the title. Another full-timer, though, might be in doubt already, and that is Dalton Cook. Cook finished 5th in the standings a year ago, and it was announced back in early February that he would be returning for year 2. But the Southern All-Stars are headed for Moulton Speedway in Alabama on Friday, and Cook is listed on their confirmed drivers' entry list. So even with his status with Hunt the Front, I maybe don't think I would expect him to be at Alltech. Going forward, I could definitely see Hunt the Front maybe adding another driver or two depending on how things go, but I also think there will end up being others that fall off. I think that'll just kind of end up being the nature of the beast with so many top-level teams and drivers competing with this series every week. This weekend's event at Alltech will feature a nice field of cars, though, that includes Brandon Overton, who does have it on his schedule. Things continue to go well. I'll be curious to see if Overton ends up chasing any championships this season. I thought maybe Spring Nationals, as he was the points leader before last weekend, but then he went racing with XR and he missed a couple of shows. There's no deadline to sign with the Hunt the Front as a full-timer, so this could be a possibility for Overton going forward. Moving on, I wanted to double back and react to some content from earlier this week. Back on Monday, Jeremy Elliott posted a 90 and 9 video to his Sprint Car Unlimited YouTube channel about standards in sprint car racing. He pointed towards the heat race incident that took out Bill Balog last Friday night with the World of Outlaws at US 36 Raceway. Very late in that heat race, with Balog running second behind Buddy Kofoid and headed for a dash transfer, he tangled with the lap car of Austin Hartman and turned over. Balog finished at the back of the heat and needed to race into the night's feature through the LCS. He did end up finishing 15th in the feature. It was a tough blow to Balog's night, as a guaranteed top 8 start could have resulted in a much different feature finish. Jeremy's point in his video was, top series like the Outlaws need tougher standards on allowing drivers to race, and mentioned Hartman being more than 2 seconds a lap off the pace in that heat race. Obviously, it's never a good look to be lapped in an 8-lap heat race. I do agree that there should be some measure of standards for these events, as top-level dirt racing is already dangerous enough. And to some extent, there are standards. I don't want you guys to think that that there's no standards at all. Drivers in the past have not been allowed to run races like with the Outlaws for various reasons, including age and lack of experience. Specifically in this case with Balog, though, the other driver involved in Austin Hartman is an interesting driver to look at. This isn't a completely inexperienced driver when it comes to 410 sprint car racing. 5 previous Outlaw appearances and nearly 50 410 sprint car starts the past 2 seasons. That includes races with the IRA and MOA as well. This is very likely a guy that Balog has raced against before. His last Outlaw race was in July of 2023 at Wilmot. He was 18th of 32 cars in qualifying, 5th in his heat race, and had a 19th place feature finish. This was not some random 16-year-old kid making his first 410 sprint car start. Why exactly he was so far off the pace in that heat, I don't know, but in looking at his resume, I don't see a reason to bar a driver like him from competing. There are plenty of other drivers who you could talk me into not allowing to race in a World of Outlaws event, but Hartman has shown himself to be respectable in the past. Jeremy mentioned that he can't go play for the Dallas Cowboys or the Boston Celtics, but this idea that other drivers can go race against the best is something I've always liked about the sport. Get some equipment, learn how to race, and go take on the best. You're going to get beat because the drivers at the top of sprint car racing are absolutely incredible. But this is always what this thing has been built on, a traveling group of the best up against the local and regional drivers. I think this is a really hard problem to address, especially since this vanity metric of car count is so important to so many for lots of reasons. You'll see people talk about, obviously, the backgate revenue with pit passes. Plus, we had a World of Outlaws race here a couple of weeks ago with 19 cars, and everybody freaked out that the series was going to close up shop. Where I agree with Jeremy, though, is the idea he brought up of a minimum speed rule. If any driver at any point can't get to a minimum lap time, then black flag them off the racetrack. That would include drivers struggling or those with damaged race cars that just came out of the work area. I think that would help avoid the perception issues and the difficult task of trying to decide who can race and who can't. It would also remove those moving roadblocks and hopefully keep active races a bit safer. A driver could still sign in and attempt to make a show, but if they're not up to speed, they don't cause problems for the other guys. If you didn't see Jeremy's video, I'll link to it below in the video description on YouTube. Definitely check it out today and check out his channel as a whole. He's doing a great job right now. It's only Wednesday, but we've already lost our first event of this coming weekend to weather. The USMTS announced late yesterday they have canceled this weekend's two-night show at Boothill Speedway. The series will be back in action April 19th at Arrowhead Speedway. Jake Tim is the current championship leader over Dan Ebert and Terry Phillips. That is with 5 races complete so far. If you're in the market for other dirt racing content this week, might I suggest an episode or two from the long list of dirt racing podcasts? Wing Nation has Danny Dietrich and Sheldon Hodenshield. QuickTime has Bill Baylog. Dirt Track Confessions has Jacqueline Rumley. Hoagie's Garage has Bryce Lucius and others. Turn 2 Terribles has Matt Campbell and Jake Moser. Racing Roundup has Michael Millard. Caution Free has Van Gurley Jr. And there are new episodes of The Dirt Reporters, The Dirt Nerds, Doing Witch on Dirt, Plum Wild, Getting Up to Speed, and The Drivers Project. To see all of these shows and all of the episodes, stop by DIRTRACKR.com/podcasts. That's it for the show today. If you're a subscriber to our email newsletter, The Slather, you have a fresh issue in your inbox today. Check that out when you have time. You can also hit up DIRTRACKR.com/watch tonight for today's streaming schedule. Hope you guys have a great Wednesday out there. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.